Kids can be excused. Chris asked me to take the service tonight. I was happy to do it, but I had no idea what the Lord would place on my heart. But there's something that's been digging at me since his service last Wednesday night. We talked about it a little bit in the men's Bible study, and mainly it's about the backstory. The Bible has plenty of stories in it, but there's always, I look for a deeper meaning in the backstory. For instance, last Sunday, Chris was talking about when the jail shook and everyone was free. The chains fell off, the doors came open. The jailer said, "What do I have to do to know your God?" And if you look at the story, it said that they left the jail and went to the jailer's house to eat. Well, I don't know about you, but if the jail typically is in the center of the city, the Roman soldiers, everybody in the city would have been out in the middle of the streets, and you couldn't have taken prisoners to your home to eat. So the miracle of the story is the only place that shook violently was the jail. That's the miracle of the story. When he talked about healing the lepers, he healed 10 of them, and only one returned. He made it a point to say he was a Samaritan. And in my mind, what that probably meant was the other 9 were Jews. The other 9 were his people that didn't come back to thank him. So I'm going to read a couple of stories in the Bible about a couple of common stories that we've heard, we've read, and we've studied. And then I want to look at what is maybe a little deeper meaning and go into that. Samson. As you know, everybody knows the story of Samson and Delilah. But leading up to that, it was similar to Jesus' birth because Samson's mother was barren. She was sterile. And it says that in Judges 13, that she was sterile, and an angel of God came and told her that she was going to bear a child. And he was to be a Nazarite. And at that time, a Nazarite was to be, you knew who they were. Number one, they never drank wine. They never touched a carcass of any dead animal or dead person. And they never cut their hair. We've heard all of those, all through the story about his hair. It really doesn't get a lot into the other two, but his parents were told before he was born how he was to be raised. Then he, number one, goes out to parties and he drinks. But God's got a covenant with Samson. God looks over him. Then, on his way to one of the parties at one time, he kills a lion with his bare hands. On his way back, bees have built a nest in the carcass, and he reaches in and gets honey out, takes it home and feeds his parents, but didn't tell them where it came from. Then, of course, you know, everybody knows the story about Delilah and what went on there. Then I'm going to flip over to another story of another child, Rehoboam. He is the son of Solomon. Solomon was a king. And he was a pretty good king. He was the son of David. He had his issues just like David did, but overall Solomon was a pretty good king. When Solomon dies, his son Rehoboam takes over. And the first thing Rehoboam does is meet with the elders of the Israeli people. He meets with the older people and asks them, what can I do to continue my father's kingdom? They told him that he was very stout. His father had been very stout, real hard on him, taxed him hard. And all they were looking for was some relief. Rather than to work the Israel who were in their slavery to them, they just wanted some relief. And he tells them, give me 3 days and I'll think about it. But what he does in those 3 days is he turns around and he goes to the young people. And he asks the young people of his kingdom, what do you think? Here's what the older people said that I need to do to continue on and to make our nation a better place. What did they tell him? Oh, no, don't be easier on those old people. We don't want to go to work. Make it harder on them. Make them work harder because we want it easier on us. So let's flip back over to Samson for just a minute. What do you think Samson's problem was? Anybody got any ideas? Why did Samson turn out like he did? Parenting. Let's get real. His parents knew what they were supposed to do. His parents had been told by an angel of God what he was supposed to do and how they were supposed to raise him. As a matter of fact, when it came to the Philistine woman, he told his father, that's who I want, go get her. Was he a spoiled brat? When you know what's best for your kids and you don't do it, it's not the kid's fault. No doubt, when Samson got to the age to lie to his parents about going and drinking, to lie to his parents about getting the honey out of a dead carcass, when he knew he wasn't supposed to do it, it wasn't the first time he lied. So was it bad parenting? I think it played a part. The same way with Rehoboam. If the father had taught him how to rule the kingdom before he died, why would there be an issue? Why would he be asking? And that one really struck me because I looked at it and I thought, we haven't changed a bit. What's going on college campuses right now? Kids are protesting. They don't want to go to work. They want to protest for more government programs. They want it easier on them. They want to come out of college. They want somebody else to pay for it. And they want to come out with the $250,000 home, 3 cars, a boat, and work 3 days a week. Whose fault is that? It's not their fault. It's the parents' fault. Let's get real. We've got a responsibility because this book tells us how to raise our children. And we're not doing it. And I'm preaching to myself, as Chris says numerous times when he's preaching, I'm preaching to myself, just like I'm preaching to everybody else. I'm sorry, but we're not doing our job. Because we're letting the world tell us that, oh, they need to be in soccer. They're going to make a living on it one of these days. Or they're going to be a pro football player. Or they just need to be in the crowd. Samson was born to be set apart. Our children are born to be a peculiar people. And where are they seeing it? They see it in us. They're growing up just like us. I tell everybody that works for me and everybody I know, when they tell me that they're having a kid, having a baby, I say, where do you want them to go, heaven or hell? Well, every one of them say heaven. And I'll look at them square in the eye and say, he's going to follow you wherever you go. Because it's about how you act. Are you setting yourself apart as a parent? Are you the parent that every now and then the child goes to school and says, I can't go do that because my parents said I can't. Or I can't go to hang out with that bunch of kids. Yeah, you might not be their best friend, but would you rather have their eyes poked out and chained to a mill in a basement like Samson is the way they finish their life out. Their heritage is left up to you. You're the one that makes a difference as to how your child turns out. And we have to take responsibility for that. Like I said, this book here tells in numerous places how we're to parent our children. Proverbs 22:6 says, train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he is old, he will not depart from it. Training up the child in how they should go is not coming in here and sending them to their activities on Sunday and on Wednesday night. That's one thing I admire about Connie and Jim. You hear Chris all the time talking about that's where they learned how they were supposed to act as human beings, as Christians. From the age they were old enough to hear it, they were always taught what came first. Is your child's popularity more important to you or their eternal life? Ephesians 6:4, fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. Child won't have to get mad at you if you train them from the time they're old enough to understand discipline. We're not going to talk tonight about spare the rod, spoil the child. How you discipline is up to you. If it's working, that's fine. If it's not working, are they going to have their eyes poked out and be tied to a mule for the rest of their life? Or are they going to prosper? Deuteronomy 4:9. Only give heed to yourself and keep your soul diligently, so that you do not forget the things which your eyes have seen, and they do not depart from your heart all the days of your life, but make them known to your sons and your grandsons. Are you sitting your kids down and talking to them about what goes on in life? Why you're doing what you're doing? Do you have conversations with them? Or there again, do you just bring them into the house and let somebody else teach them on the other side? It's just like us, folks. If you're coming in here for an hour, 2 hours every Sunday, you're starving to death spiritually. There's a thing called sacrifice. Mike and I was talking about it tonight. You've got to make a sacrifice in order to get a reward, to get a blessing. All throughout the Bible, it talks about sacrifice. If you can't sacrifice the time for your family and feel strong enough in your heart that you're looking to their eternity, rather than them having the most enjoyable high school they can have. And don't get me wrong, I want everybody to have fun. But there's a difference in preparing for a life eternal and preparing for a party life at college. And like I said, I'm preaching for myself. I'm soon to be 60 years old, and if I could get one parent to think about their child's future from an eternity standpoint rather than a popularity standpoint, I'll do whatever I have to. I'll talk until I'm blue in the face. Because as I get older, I realize life was short. Life was real short. Looking back, I wish I knew now what I know then. I wish I knew then what I know now. And I also have to say that, the older I get, the smarter my parents get. The stuff that I thought they were crazy, old fools for thinking. And I think the biggest problem is we as parents don't sit down and get the confidence from our kids that they deserve. They think we just make those decisions to really screw their life up. That's the only reason they make that decision, because they just want to mess my life up. Rather than sitting down every day and talking to them about why you do what you do. Because there's something more important than what happens on this earth. Isaiah 38:19. It is the living who gives thanks to you, as I do today. A father tells his sons about your faithfulness. Do you tell your kids how faithful God is to them? What he's got planned for them? Chris's favorite verse. I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. Have you told them from the time they were big enough to understand your voice that we're a temporary train? Your child is given to God the second it's born. How many of you, especially the women, during pregnancy, made a deal with God? God, just a healthy baby. You just give me a healthy baby, God, and I'll do anything you want me to do. How many of you thought that? How many of you made the deal? Same way with fathers. When your child is sick, how many times have you dropped your knees and said, Lord, just help us through this. Heal him. I can't stand to see my child sick. What do I need to do, God? And then they turn around and they're better in 2 days. And what'd you do? Did you continue to pray for your child daily? Openly, where they could hear you? That's one thing that Rick talks about that just really gets to my heart. Rick says he can remember his grandmother praying in the other room and him hearing his name mentioned. It really struck a chord in me. Imagine if your child heard you sitting down praying at night and lifting them up, where they could verbally hear you, knowing that your Father in heaven is who's taking care of you. Joel 1:3, tell your sons about it, and let your sons tell their sons, and their sons the next generation. If it didn't happen to you, start it tonight. If you didn't hear and your parents didn't sit down with you to talk to you about the glory and the joy of knowing Jesus Christ, not just you want them saved, but you want them to know the joy that every day in their life they can get through anything. Part of the problem we have with the kids committing suicide and getting the trouble they do these days is because they don't think there's anybody that cares for them. If you can teach them early on the joy of the Lord is your strength, that no matter what people on this earth have to say about you, that Jesus Christ died for you, if you can teach them that at an early enough age, in the formative years, they'll never forget it. Because it's burnt in their mind and in their soul. Because at that time, when they're small enough, they believe you can do anything. There's nothing that can hurt them because you said it could. And let them know how much you love Jesus for doing what he did for you, and he did the same thing for you. Proverbs 19:18. Disciple your son while there is hope, and do not desire his death. That's death spiritually. Disciple them from the time they're old enough to understand. There's one thing I can tell you. I've got a little 3-year-old grandson that if you sit down to eat and you don't say the prayer, he's going to get all over you. In the end, he's going to get all over you. And he